Most people assume that fading after 80 is about disease or bad genes. But what if that's not the full story? What if the real reasons are far more subtle and far more preventable? In this video, we'll uncover 5 unexpected reasons why many seniors quietly decline after 80, even those who seemed strong and sharp just years before. These aren't the usual culprits like poor diet or a lack of exercise. They're deeper, more human, more hidden, like the slow disappearance of daily micro-interactions, those tiny moments of eye contact or a neighbor's smile that silently tell your brain, you still belong. Or the creeping fear that makes you move less, thinking you're being careful, when in fact, you're slowly erasing your strength, your coordination, your confidence. Then there's the light. Yes, light. Too little sunlight during the day and too much screen glow at night disrupts your sleep, your hormones, even your memory. Add to that the grief you've never spoken out loud, the losses you've swallowed for years. They don't disappear. They live in the body and quietly weigh it down. And perhaps most overlooked of all, losing your reason to wake up. Purpose doesn't have to be grand, but without it, even the healthiest body starts to shut down. So why do most people struggle to live well past 80? It's not always what you think, but it's never too late to change the way you age. Watch now and stay with us, because what you learn today might just extend your tomorrow. The quiet reason most people fade after 80, and no one talks about it. Why do so many people begin to fade after the age of 80? Not because of a sudden illness, not because of some genetic time bomb, but because of something far more subtle and far more powerful. It's not what you think. It's not about diet. It's not about exercise. It's not even about memory loss. It's about disconnection, not from loved ones, but from the world around you. There's a scientific name for it, microsocial engagement. But what it really means is this: the daily, seemingly insignificant moments of human contact that used to make up the rhythm of your day slowly disappear. It's the good morning to the neighbor walking their dog, the light joke with a barista at your usual coffee stop, the nod to the mail carrier as they pass by. Tiny sparks of interaction that tell your brain, you're still here, you still belong, you're still part of something. But after 80, those small moments begin to vanish. Maybe your hearing isn't as sharp, so you stop initiating conversations. Maybe you start ordering groceries online instead of walking to the market. Maybe your knees ache, so you skip the daily stroll that used to bring you face to face with the world. And without realizing it, you're no longer being seen, no longer acknowledged, no longer mirrored in someone else's eyes. You're not lonely in the dramatic sense. You're just invisible, and that quiet invisibility has consequences. Science tells us that microsocial engagement regulates the nervous system, boosts immune function, and keeps the brain's social wiring active. Without it, the mind slows, the body weakens, the heart loses rhythm. You begin to fade, not all at once, but piece by piece. I once met an 83-year-old man who lived alone. His health was decent, but something felt off. He told me, "I haven't said good morning to anyone in days. Not because I'm isolated. I just don't go out much anymore." I didn't notice until it was gone. And that's exactly the point. We often think staying alive past 80 means avoiding big risks, falls, strokes, heart disease. But no one warns us that the greatest threat might be something much smaller, the absence of human recognition in our everyday life. So, if you've stopped making small talk, if you haven't looked someone in the eyes today, if your world feels a little dimmer, quieter, more detached, that's not aging. That's disconnection. The fix, it's not complicated, but it is intentional. Walk to the local store instead of ordering online. Wave at the neighbor. Ask someone how their day is, even if it's just the cashier. Go to the same cafe at the same hour every day and nod at the familiar faces. Because those small things, they're not small. They are signals to your brain, your body, and your spirit that you're still part of life. Staying sharp, staying alive, staying vibrant after 80 has less to do with what you eat or how many pills you take, and more to do with whether or not the world still sees you. So ask yourself today, when was the last time you felt seen? Because the truth is, longevity is not just about how long you live. It's about how connected you are while you're living. The hidden danger that weakens the elderly. And it's not what you think. Why do so many people begin to lose strength, balance, and vitality after the age of 80? You might think it's illness, or simply old age. But often, it starts with something that seems wise, being careful. You trip on the stairs once, or slip on the sidewalk. It's just a scare, no broken bones, no hospital stay. But that fear sticks, so you stop going for your evening walks. You avoid bending down to reach lower shelves. You hesitate to climb steps. You sit more. You move less. And everyone around you says, "That's smart. Don't risk it." They mean well. But the truth is, this kind of caution isn't always protective. Sometimes it's quietly destructive. You see, the body doesn't stay strong by resting. It stays strong by moving, especially the core, the deep muscles in your abdomen and lower back that are essential for balance, stability, and coordination. When those muscles go unused, they shrink. And when they shrink, your body starts to forget how to move. That's when the spiral begins. You become less steady. You fear falling even more, so you move even less, and the cycle deepens. I once met a man named Walter. He was 82, sharp-minded, used to walk every day. But one rainy evening, he slipped outside. Not badly, just enough to scare him. After that, he stayed in, watched TV, sat in the same chair every night. 6 months later, he had lost nearly 10 pounds of muscle. His legs felt weak. His posture changed. His doctor warned him, but the decline had already started. Walter didn't stop moving because he was weak. He became weak because he stopped moving. Here's the truth no one says out loud. Movement is survival, not aggressive workouts, not pushing your limits. Just gentle, regular, deliberate movement. Your body is like a garden. It needs tending. When you stop using your strength, your balance, your coordination, you lose them. This doesn't mean ignoring risk. Use a cane if needed. Install handrails. Wear stable shoes. But don't surrender to fear. Because when you stop moving, your body doesn't feel safe. It feels forgotten. And that message triggers decline far faster than any illness. So ask yourself today, am I protecting myself? Or am I slowly disappearing? Because staying alive after 80 isn't about avoiding danger. It's about reminding your body that it's still needed. That every step, every stretch, every reach still matters. The free medicine you're ignoring after 80, and it's silently stealing your sleep. What if I told you that one of the most powerful medicines for aging, well, doesn't come in a bottle? It's not a supplement, not a pill, not even a special diet. It's light, natural light, morning light. After 80, your body becomes more sensitive to a quiet, invisible force that governs everything. Your circadian rhythm, your internal clock that tells you when to feel alert, when to rest, when to heal. And here's the truth, that clock runs on light. But most older adults don't get enough of it. They stay indoors, curtains drawn, screens glowing late into the night. And little by little, the body becomes confused. It starts with shallow sleep. Then comes daytime fatigue, a foggy mind, low mood, weak immunity. And often, no one realizes it's not aging, it's disorganization. Because your brain doesn't know what time it is anymore. I once knew a woman named Helen, 84, still sharp, but always tired. Blood work was fine. No new medications. The solution? Her doctor told her to sit by a sunny window for 20 minutes each morning. That's it. 2 weeks later, better sleep, clearer mind, brighter spirit. Morning light is free, but it's essential. It triggers energy, regulates hormones, boosts mood, and prepares your brain for deep, healing sleep at night. But it only works if you let it in. So if you're over 80 and spending most of your day in dim rooms, staying up with the TV, falling asleep with your phone, this isn't just a bad habit. It's a quiet crisis. You don't need more medication. You need a morning sun ritual. Because longevity isn't just about what you eat. It's about whether your body still knows what time it is, and whether it feels like it's still on schedule. Let the light in. Your life depends on it. The pain we don't speak after 80, and how it quietly shuts us down. By the time you reach your 80s, you've likely carried more loss than most can imagine. A spouse, a sibling, a best friend, sometimes even a child. And yet you carry on. You smile politely when people ask how you're doing. You say, "I'm fine." Because what else is there to say? But here's the truth no one tells you. Emotional pain doesn't disappear just because you don't talk about it. It stays. Not in your mind, but in your body. It lives in your breath, now shorter. In your shoulders, now heavier. In your sleep, now restless. After 80, the body becomes more vulnerable, not just to physical illness, but to unspoken grief. Suppressing emotions doesn't make you stronger. It slowly weakens your immune system. It scrambles your hormones. It keeps your nervous system locked in quiet tension. I met a man named George, 86, strong-willed, lost his wife of 60 years. He never cried. Said he didn't need to talk about it. But within months, he lost weight, stopped going out, couldn't sleep. Not because he was sick, but because his body was holding the weight of a sorrow he never allowed himself to feel. Grief is not just a feeling. It's a pressure. And if it doesn't get released, it turns inward. That's why the people who live long and well after 80 often have one thing in common: a safe outlet, a friend, a journal, a prayer, a moment to say, "I miss her." Or simply, "I'm still hurting." That release isn't weakness, it's survival. Because when the heart has no room to breathe, the body begins to shut down. So if you've been holding something in, quietly aching without a place to let it out, don't ignore it. Longevity isn't just about keeping your heart beating. It's about letting it feel. Because a heart that feels is a heart that still wants to live. The real reason many people fade after 80, it's not illness, it's emptiness. No one tells you how dangerous quiet mornings can become. Not the peaceful kind. The kind where you wake up and there's nothing waiting for you. No one to call. Nowhere to be. Nothing to finish. Just time. Too much time. After 80, it's not disease that steals life fastest. It's the loss of daily purpose. Not a grand philosophical mission. Not a legacy. Just the little reasons that used to pull you out of bed. Watering the plants before the sun gets too hot. Feeding the cat who waits by the back door. Writing a birthday card to your granddaughter. Watching the kids walk home from school and waving to them through the window. When those rhythms fade, so does something else. Vitality. You stop moving as much. Stop eating with intention. Stop keeping track of days, because they all blur together. And the body listens. Not to pain, not to test results, but to meaning. Without purpose, your organs slow. Your appetite dulls. Your strength weakens, not because it has to, but because it no longer feels needed. I once knew a woman named Ruth. She was 88, lived alone, modest health, no family nearby. But every Monday, she wrote postcards to shut-ins from her church. Every Thursday, she made soup for the local shelter and froze it. And every day at 4 p.m., she sat at her window and waved at the neighborhood kids walking home. They waved back. She knew their names. They knew hers. She wasn't famous. She wasn't rich. But she was anchored. That's what purpose does. It gives life texture, structure, and most of all, momentum. Without it, the days feel heavy. The mornings feel optional. And the future starts to feel irrelevant. So if you found yourself drifting, sleeping late, skipping routines, going days without doing something that matters, even in a small way, that's not just aging. That's the heart asking for meaning again. Because the truth is, the body stays alive, as long as it believes it's still needed. So start small. Feed the bird outside your window. Call someone. Write something. Wave. Even the tiniest purpose can reignite the deepest will to live. Because in the end, we don't just need a heartbeat. We need a reason for it to keep going. 80 is not the end, it's the wake-up call. They say life slows down after 80. But what if I told you it doesn't have to? The truth is, most people don't fade because they're old. They fade because they stop doing the small things that keep life alive. The conversations with strangers, the short walks in the morning sun, the handwritten note to a friend, the quiet feeling that you still matter. You don't need to wait for a diagnosis, a scare, or the moment you finally feel old to make a change. Because it's not the big things that bring life back. It's the small, daily rituals, the little acts of connection, movement, light, emotion, and purpose. And the good news is this: you can begin anytime, even today. Say hello to someone. Step outside, feel the sunlight. Stretch, smile. Write down one thing that still gives your day meaning. These tiny actions are not just habits. They are lifelines. They tell your brain, your body, and your spirit, we are still here, and we're not done yet. So if this message spoke to you, don't just watch and scroll. Leave a comment with the one small thing you'll do today to feel more alive. And if you believe aging can be redefined, subscribe to this channel, because we're building a community that's not just living longer, but living deeper. You're not too late. You're right on time.